This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to be here with you. I got my boy Andy in the chat, and we're going to start breaking down a couple more teams that we think the Knicks might be able to do some deals with during the offseason, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get to that, I do want to let you know and remind you that we have 2 events getting ready to come up in the coming weeks. We have the draft watch party that's going to be at Legends in NYC. All right, so make sure you join us there, and then take a trip upstate and join us in Albany or outside of Albany at our first NBK cookout. I'm going to put the links in the chat so that you can join us, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get my guy Andy over here so we can start breaking this thing down. The first team we're going to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets, ladies and gentlemen. But Andy, what's poppin' with you, my brother? How you feeling?
What's up, Sam? Happy to be on with you. As always, a pleasure. I've just, finished hooping, got a fast cold shower, and I'm ready to go.
All right, no doubt about it. I wish you could make it to the cookout, man, because we plan on hooping at the cookout.
Yeah,
it's a nice court out there.
I wish too.
Yeah, we got a nice court out there, and it's a small court made for old men. It's full court, but it's a small one made for old men, so we can go out there, get our hoop on and whatnot.
No, Sam, I'm running only from the 3-point line to the 3-point line. So
I hear you there. I get that. I just put the link in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, for the NBK cookout. It's $35 if you want to come to the cookout and get a T-shirt. $20 if you just want to come to the cookout. Obviously we're gonna have food. We're gonna play basketball games. We'll do some podcasting, making some videos, and we'll play a bunch of other games out there as well. It's a family event. Bring your entire family and join us. All right. More information about that later. There'll be a flyer and all of that that'll come to you. If you're on my email list, you're going to get something in your email probably 30 to 45 minutes when we're finished with this show. All right. Andy, we're going to talk about the Charlotte Hornets and the possibility that the Knicks do some work with them or some deals with them during the offseason. So let's break this down. Talk about the Hornets a little bit. They got a few free agents. Kelly Oubre Jr., he's an unrestricted free agent. PJ Washington, he's due a qualifying offer from the Charlotte Hornets. Dennis Smith Jr., former Knick, unrestricted free agent. Svi McCulloch, former Knick, unrestricted free agent. Svi went over there to Charlotte with that whole trade for Josh Hart. He went over there to Charlotte. Theo Maledon is an unrestricted free agent. Now, I don't know if there's anyone there that the Knicks are really interested in. Maybe Kelly Oubre Jr. He's a defender, doesn't really shoot the 3, can create a shot a little bit. Might be someone they're interested in at the 3 spot. I don't know. But they can get him in unrestricted free agency if the Knicks have enough money to pay for him. Salary cap for the Charlotte Hornets, they have $91 million on the books next season. $91 million on the books. $43 million in cap space available. All right, that's a lot of money for the Knicks to say, hey, do you want to take on can we use your cap space to help you, so that, you absorb someone like Evan Fournier, we'll give you some draft picks to help us free up some cap space. And they'd still have cap space available. I don't know what kind of direction they're going in. Draft picks, they have the 2nd, the 27th, the 34th, the 39th, and the 41st. All right, a couple of questions about the team. What will the team do with Miles Bridges? And are they willing to absorb contracts? Andy, your thoughts about the Charlotte Hornets, man?
Well, this is a very interesting partner to work with as far as the trade market goes. For one, they got the biggest question mark in Miles Bridges. I'm not sure which direction they're going to go with him because he's on a basically year suspension, so he's going to be available for them. Question is, are they going to be happy with taking him back, or they're going to try to void that contract or trade him? You don't know what's that situation gonna look like. But the second thing is they got the number 2 pick in this year's draft, which is probably gonna be Scoot Henderson, right? A guard, one of the biggest talents from this upcoming draft. And looking at their current roster, on the guard spots, they got already LaMelo Ball due to the next 2 seasons under contract. James Bucknight, which he isn't fond of the coaching staff there. And, the rest of the guards are basically, movable pieces. I don't think there's many untradeable guys. The vet guard on that roster is Terry Rozier. Then again, if you get a guy like Scoot Henderson and you have LaMelo Ball, I'm guessing you're starting them as your backcourt tandem, right? Which basically means that Terry Rozier might be one of those players that's going to be asking out. He has a nice contract. Next season is $23.2 million. 24-25, it's $25 million almost. And 25-26 season, there's a team option for 26.6, which means this contract isn't that bad. Looking at the situation, and if I would be the GM for the Hornets, getting a guy like Scoot Henderson, I would be looking to move one of the contracts of Terry Rozier or even Gordon Hayward and go basically with all my young guys. Which means, for example, looking at the Knicks as a trade partner, they might be interested in a tandem like Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin. They will be able to extend their contracts, even if the number is going to be a little bit high. So and Quickly and OB, they're going to have like 4 years under the belt in the NBA. Not that young, but not that old. Still good running mates for LaMelo. LaMelo is a fast-paced playing guy. Both Quickly and OB fit that style of play. Scoot Henderson, also one of those guys. Those guys would make it, work for the Hornets. Question is, would they rather trade Gordon Hayward and his contract, which is going to be expiring for after the next season, or a longer deal in Terry Rozier? Looking at the Knicks, Terry Rozier, he's that kind of a guard that can score, but can also defend way better than Jalen Brunson. We can say that. So that might be not a stupid idea, as many fans think, to get a running mate in the backcourt for Jalen Brunson that can play a little bit defense. My thing is, he ain't that high of a guy. So you would have 2 small guards, and in today's NBA, that doesn't, play in favor for you. Question is,
and he also doesn't shoot he's a scorer. He can score.
Yeah,
he doesn't
but-
shoot the 3 well either.
Exactly. So stretching the floor is, something different. And the question is, are they really looking just at Quickly and Obi, right? Like you said, we could move the salaries of, D-Rose. And for example, if they would really want to get off the salary of a Gordon Hayward, D-Rose's salary is basically halfway of Gordon Hayward's salary. Is he going to be the missing piece? You could move RJ maybe to the 2, Gordon Hayward at the 3, and then play Julius at the 4. I don't know if that's going to be a good fit. Hayward can stretch the floor probably better than RJ. Question is that lineup going to be the lineup that is going to take you further down the playoffs than this squad, right?
How many years does Gordon Hayward have left on that contract?
The next season is the expiring one for $31.5 million. So after that season, he's gonna be a free agent.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there as far as now. If they were going to make a move like that, they'd have to do that. If they were going to make a move like that with Derrick Rose, they'd have to do it at the draft.
On draft night.
They'd
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
do it on
Because
draft night.
yeah, you can do the other move when quickly Obi and for example Fournier, you can do it down the line, trade deadline, or just see how the season's gonna go. If you need a guy like Hayward, if you need a guy like Rozier. But if I'm Terry Rozier, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm gonna be that much happy playing behind a rookie and LaMelo Ball, right? Because he's not maybe way better, but looking at the situation with LaMelo Ball and his injury-prone career, I think that might be the situation where he would really ask, for a trade, because he's going to look for a more stable situation than playing the next 4 years behind a young, tandem in the backcourt. So,
let me ask you this. I mean, $31 million for 1 year, but you'd have to give up more than just Rose.
Right? Yeah, that would be that. For example, also Fournier, right?
Oh well, so, yep.
You could do those guys, and you would easily get that money.
That helps them to save, $15 million at least for next season. Yeah. They save a little bit of money now. They already have $43 million of cap space.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know but they might. Who knows? I don't know if they would or if they wouldn't. He would definitely be a capable addition. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you want him to stay healthy, but he'd be a very capable addition. He can knock down he could do more than knock down the three. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's when he's healthy, he's way better than Fournier, in my opinion, when he's healthy. Will he stay healthy throughout the season? That's one thing. The good thing in that scenario is you wouldn't be depending on Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, and we got to remember that when he was in Utah for several seasons, he was the main option on that roster.
The main guy.
So even if he comes to the Knicks and he's not the main guy, because I don't envision him being the main guy with Brunson and Randall on the roster,
right?
But you still got a guy that was in that position. If he takes a step back in his the totem of totem pole of scoring and stuff like that, that's still going to be something that is probably going to be more reliable than just getting a rookie and depending on him. So
right. Yeah. So that is one option, at least a thought, making a move for Gordon Hayward. The good thing about that as well is after next season, you would free up $31 million. When you may be able to use that in the free agent market. And then, of course, you'd have some more money coming off the books. So that might open you up to making a bigger move in the summer of 2024. How would you feel about Miles Bridges? Because I see, like Andre Walker says, Obi would look good in Charlotte playing with Melo. He probably would. I mean, that'd be a duo right there. You know what I'm saying? LaMelo would find Obi all over the place. So he'd be playing with a younger, faster team. Who knows what they're planning on doing with Miles Bridges? Maybe there's something that happens that way. If they don't plan on bringing back Miles Bridges, maybe the Knicks have some interest in Miles Bridges. They do a similar deal like you're talking about for Gordon Hayward. When then Miles and Gordon come to the Knicks, Obi goes there with Evan Fournier, but it also helps him to free up some space. You'd probably be sending some draft picks. Right now, Miles he's an unrestricted free agent right now, right?
Yeah, I think so. So
I believe he's a free agent right now because last year was supposed to be the qualifying offer, and they extended the qualifying offer. He didn't play, but they extended the qualifying offer. Now, I'm assuming that he accepted the qualifying offer.
Probably so, yeah. But after that, which means this offseason, he's in the free agent pool.
Unrestricted, right? He's unrestricted. And
I don't think he's in a situation to ask for, high kind of contracts, right? Due to his off-court stuff, it's going to be easy to kind of lowball him.
That's the thing,
right? So
right, that's the thing. And Quiet Money says when Miles Bridges comes back, he will be suspended for a considerable amount of time. He will be. I don't know if it's going to be maybe half the season or something like that.
I think it's going to be less. I think it's going to be like maybe like 10, 20 games. I don't think it's going to be half of the season.
Okay, 10, 20 games.
And Sim, looking at just about the suspension thing also, I think, bearing the situations, it's what's happening, in bad PR stuff around the league. I don't think they need more, kind of suspending players and putting that into the news, right? So he might fly under the radar with shorter suspension with Jaws stuff going around and stuff like that, right?
So I think what happened is they extended the qualifying offer, Charlotte, and then he declined it. Obviously, he didn't get a deal, but right now I'm reading. This is from April 14th that Miles Bridges is a restricted free agent. It's been suspended for 30 games. All right, so anyone who picks up Miles Bridges is going to have to wait 30 games before he can even play. So you're talking about December, January. Yeah. Right? So the Hornets can match any offer. Yeah. I don't know what kind of offers do you think he would get? Obviously, teams would lowball him, but if teams lowball him, and I guess this works out for him because if teams lowball him, it's easy for the Hornets to match it, right? Super easy.
That's true.
Especially with the amount of money that they have. So he may end up getting a fair contract. For teams that if someone really wants to be competitive for Miles Bridges.
Yeah, I think, at the final, thing that the Hornets are going to, probably pay him, it's going to be like max the $6.5 million or something like that, like the mid-level exception or something like that. Right. I don't envision, any other GM like risking drama and not having a guy available for like quarter of the season. So
and that's the one reason why I don't feel Leon Rose and the staff and the front office staff would make a move for Miles Bridges. They've really been good at bringing in people considered high character. Right, it's been one of their calling cards. You know what I'm saying? Bringing in people who are considered to have high character, and I don't think they want to deal with it, and I don't think they will deal with it. That's one of the reasons why I don't think they'll make a move for Miles Bridges. Or if they did, there'd be some really deep background investigation into everything that happened. They haven't done it already, and what he's done since then. And things that he's done to improve and grow. You know what I mean? I think there's definitely some interesting pieces that you might be able to get from the Charlotte Hornets. Scary Terry is one of them. Listen, Scary Terry, he led the Boston Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals years ago. You know what I mean? And, he's one of those guys that he just has some dog in him. Yeah, I think Tom Thibodeau would love him.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he's a Tibbs kind of guy. So,
yeah, he definitely is. He can't shoot the three, but he's definitely I'm not gonna say he can't shoot it. He's not, super efficient from the three. For the most part, he's kind of an inefficient shooter, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to look it up right now. It's probably somewhere around 43 to 45% from the field.
And Sim, just to add, the shot selection needs work.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
But what we can add also, Sim, that they have, 5 draft picks, right? 3 of them are second rounders and kind of high second rounders, 34th, 39th, and 41st. Maybe the Knicks, look to buy one of those picks. I don't think even if you're, the GM of the Hornets and you got 2 vets in Hayward and in Scary Terry. You look to build with that kind of a young squad, like 4 rookies, and the rest of their squad is basically young players. So I don't think they go that young, right? So I think they would rather move and get one of those guys that, like I said, not old, but not also rookies or stuff like that. So a Quickly and Obi would perfectly fit that roster. So they don't have just young guys running around with the ball.
Yeah. Scary Terry shoots 41% from the field. That's what he shot last season. 41.5% from the field and 32.7% from the three-point line. Although, season before then, he shot 44% from the field and 37% from the three-point line. And then the season before then, 45% from the field and 38% or 39% from the three-point line. And then in 1920, 42% from the field and 40% from the three-point line. So he's much better than I thought from the three-point line. He was down last year, but he's much better than I thought.
And Sim, comparing his numbers all versus the current Knicks, it would be not that bad.
Yeah. Would he be willing to come off the bench? He's 6'1", 190. Another small guard. Would he be willing to come off the bench? And how would you envision him playing with Emmanuel Quickly?
Well, for me, if we would deal with the Hornets, it would have to go Quickly would have to go in that deal. And he could easily fill the Quickly role, because if I'm a vet, because he's older than Jalen Brunson, right? And I'd rather be a sub to a guy like Jalen Brunson or a sub to a younger player that I see as making mistakes and stuff like that, right? So kind of the situation is different. It's different coming off the bench behind 2 rookies basically, or a guy that's a sophomore and a rookie, than just a vet, a seasoned proven vet,
right,
that led this team, right? So those are totally different situations. And I think he would actually fit the Knicks, and like you said, he might be one of the favorites of the coach, and even maybe he's going to get moved in the starting lineup. I could envision him playing alongside Jalen Brunson late in the games, and Grimes would be on the bench, or we would play a little bit smaller lineups. So
yeah, Rozier, you'd have him for at least 2 seasons. Right, he makes $23.2 million next season, and then $24.9 the season after that, and then there's a team option for $26.6 and $25.26.
Yeah, and that's a reasonable number, Sim. And in 3 years, 26 million is going to be like nowadays like 17, 18 million.
Right.
So that's not a bad contract for a guy that can bring some numbers and off the bench.
Right. So, that's if somehow, some way, Emmanuel Quickly gets moved for Emmanuel Quickly and Obi, gets moved as a tandem someplace, Terry Rozier could be an option, in a move that could help the Charlotte Hornets to save some salary cap if the Knicks were interested in, locking in for another 2 years at $23 or $24 million. I mean, you could use Evan Fournier, and that takes up most of Terry Rozier's salary, right? And that's a quick swap. It saves a year of salary for the Charlotte Hornets. So there's some things that can be done with the Charlotte Hornets, ladies and gentlemen. And then, like Andy just mentioned, the draft picks. They've got the 2nd, the 27th, the 34th, the 39th, the 41st. The Knicks could, try to maybe tap into that 27th pick, or maybe buy the 34th, 39th, 41st, or make a trade for one of those picks, whatever it is. Then I think the Knicks are going to be in this draft. I really do. I think they're going to trade or buy one of these picks from one of these teams. Now, the Hornets, they have enough money to pay all of these players without going over the cap. So that's not an issue for them, right? They have $43 million in cap space. So even the first, the 2 first-round picks they have guaranteed money. The Hornets will have enough money to pay for those guys. So that's not an issue. But the Knicks may still look to deal. And if they do want a deal, because the salary isn't an issue for the Hornets going to be like, why would we just give you these picks? We need something in return. You know what I mean? So the Knicks would, they would need to be ready to pay a tax, to pick up one of these draft picks. Same way with the Indiana Pacers. All right. Next team we're going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. And I know there's going to be some people out here who get excited about this one. We're going to talk about the Washington Wizards. All right. And you already know why they're going to get excited, Andy, because KP is a wizard. All right. And when you look at the situation of the Washington Wizards, they've got to do something. They can't stay like this, right? It reminds me of the Pelicans that we looked at the other day, but I think it's even worse than the Pelicans, in my opinion. Okay? You have free agents. Kristaps Porzingis, he's a free agent. The biggest free agent, the biggest name free agent that they have. And, of course, he's been linked to the Knicks. A lot of people want KP to come back to the Knicks. I don't know if everybody wants him to come back to replace Julius Randle. I think there's a lot of people that want him to come back and play in that starting lineup to help spread the floor, to be honest with you, right? Because he's a three-point shooter, but that would mean replacing Mitchell Robinson with replacing defense with offense. I don't know if that's something that Tom Thibodeau wants to do. Kristaps Porzingis made $33.8 million this season, and he's got a player option for $36 million in 23-24. I believe he's going to pick up that player option. I don't see that he's going to make that amount of money on the market. I don't know. Do you think he makes that amount of money on the market?
I don't think he's going to get paid like that. And that's looking at his injury, history. It's not, lately it wasn't that bad, but we got to remember that he's a 7'3" center with injury history on his knees. And that doesn't, that those stories don't end well usually. So, his career probably is going to get, cut short. He's not going to be playing 39, 38 years old in the league, probably.
Right.
He's still young, though. Let's not, forget about that. But 36, I don't think any team is going to, just go out for KP like that.
The only way that I see a team making a move for that $36 million is if it's going to free up cap space for that season. The same way the Knicks did with Tracy McGrady back in 2010 when they were trying to get LeBron James. They made a move for Tracy McGrady in that big contract, which was big back then, that contract, not because they wanted Tracy McGrady, but because they wanted to have the money available during the summer. I could see a team trying to do that for Kristaps Porzingis, and then hoping that they can re-sign him because he's still young, hoping that they can re-sign him to a better contract the next season. You know what I'm saying?
Smaller money, but probably longer, lengthwise.
Longer.
So.
Right. How would you feel if the Knicks either sign KP in free agency, which I don't think is going to happen, because I don't think he's going to free agency. I think he's going to take that $36 million. I believe that him and his people probably understand that he may not get that amount of money again because of his injury history. So if the Knicks were to make if KP was coming to the Knicks, they'd have to make a trade. So again, you're talking about Rose and Evan Fournier.
Fournier. Just to make the money work.
To make the money work. Rose and Evan Fournier makes the money work. You're not giving up a rotation piece. they save $15 million, which they need to do because they're already, for next season, $13 million, $15 million over the cap. All right, and I'm going to make that change because I didn't put that on the flyer, but they're already going to be $15 million over the cap. All right. I don't know. How would you feel about that move? And would KP be willing to come off the bench?
Yeah, that's the question for me. I don't think KP is a bench player, even like a bench player behind a player like Mitch. Let's get that out of the way. I think defensively, of course, he's not Mitchell Robinson, but he's not like a huge drop off that he can play defense. He can also alter shots, just being 7'3", and we saw him on the Knicks. He can block shots.
Right.
Is he a perfect defender? Not in any word, but he's still a capable defender that can alter shots, and that's what Tibbs' defense requires. Getting rebounds, like I said, just the height and the scheme is gonna let KP get a couple of defensive rebounds. Offensively, he also, if he crashes the boards, because that's the order, he's gonna get a couple of offensive rebounds. Question is, of course, if the deal is D-Rose and Fournier, I think that would be a no-brainer. Just to make that deal. For me, I think it will require quickly and maybe even a pick to get Porzingis, and that makes me a little bit more hesitant. If I would do it, I still probably would do it, but the question is also for me, is that gonna move the needle for the Knicks to go past that second round in the playoffs in the next season? If he would be healthy for throughout the whole season, or at least like 3/4 of the season, and be available for the playoffs, that might be worth doing a deal like that. What we got to remember, Sim, also is that D-Rose's contract, if it's not extended, and it's probably not going to be extended,
right,
we're going to lose it for nothing. So we got to try to make the move just to make the salary, get someone on the Knicks for that number. The rest of the guys, we can play with them. We can make a trade a little bit later throughout the season. But what we also got to remember, if we are thinking that we're going to resign quickly and Obi, there goes that cap space that the Knicks would have available. Right. So, it's better sometimes to trade a player on a rookie scale contract, because the worth is going to be, it's going to be harder to fill out that salary. But for the new team, it's going to be, better trade for them, because they're going to be available to extend that player, not on their terms, right? Not on the Knicks terms. Right. Because if the Knicks extend them, then the other team needs to see the value in that contract. Right. And I think, it's still better to like I said, trade a guy on a rookie scale contract and have the decision up in your, squad and management than to inherit a contract.
Right. I mean, it's tough, it's tough with KP. I definitely, me personally, I wouldn't want him to come and replace Julius Randle, because I'm not comfortable with his injury history, and I don't want to rely on him and then he's not there. Would I want him to come in and replace Mitch? I just don't want to give up the defense. I would love to have KP coming off the bench. I don't know if he would come off the bench.
Well, what we gotta realize is that he would be by far the highest paid player, and you're gonna sit that guy on the bench.
He would be by far the highest paid player, but I mean, I think it's been done before, though. I think I think he and the team and everyone would understand. First of all, it'd be a 1-year contract, right? I think they would get like, okay, yeah, he's the highest paid player, but we didn't get him to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? With it being the business of the NBA. Because I don't know if anyone is making a move for KP to come in and be your number one option right now.
Oh, no, as the scoring option, I don't think that, that he's reliable like that.
Right.
So,
I mean, listen, he played 65 games last season. That is the third highest in his career, I believe. The third highest in his career. 17 games the season before that, 34 games the season before that, 51 games the season before that, 43 before then, 57 before then. Actually, wait a minute, I made a mistake. He played not 17, he played 65, and then he was traded from Dallas to Washington, so that actually was 51 games that season. Then he played 43 games, then he played 57 games. 2018, 2019, he did not play due to ACL injury. 17-18, he played 48 games for the Knicks. 16-17, he played 66 games, and then 15-16, he played 72 games. It's tough. He's 27 years old. Last season, he put up good numbers, 23.2 points per game, 8.4 rebounds a game, 2.7 assists. Shot 49.8% from the field and 38.5% from the three-point line. Listen, he can put up numbers. He can help this offense open up. I do believe that because of the way he can shoot the ball, his efficiency scoring. He's 7'3", so he can spread the floor. He can make centers spread the floor. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. Let me ask you this. How much, if I'm the Knicks, I'm not giving up a first-round draft pick for him. You know why? Because it takes me back to Andre Bargnani. It takes me right back to that. It takes me right back to that move when the Knicks traded for Andre Bargnani so that they can open the floor for Amari and Melo. You know what I'm saying? And they gave up a first-round draft pick doing it. And you see where it went. I'm not saying that the same thing would happen with KP. But, I guess PSTD, you know what I mean? PTSD, whatever the initials are. It takes me right back to that.
Sim, I would trade a first-round pick, but it would be one of those with protections that we got like from the Pistons, top 18 protected and stuff like that. Yeah, I would trade one of those.
I would do that.
I would trade one of those those picks, and like we said, D-Rose and Anfernee. Listen, those guys are death weight on the salary books, so you get nothing from them.
Right,
and if you get Porzingis on this roster, he's going to get minutes, no matter if it's starter in the starting lineup or off the bench. You're going to get him on the court. So he's going to give you anything, but it's going to be at least something in the box score and in the stat sheet. So I think that would be probably a good move. And we don't even know if those picks are going to convey.
Right.
So
Right. And I see people, Keith Turner said, we're not bringing KP back here. Why is it still a topic of discussion? It's a topic because the Washington Wizards may break it down and have to rebuild. They're already $15 million over the cap for next season. The cap is supposed to come in at around $134 million. They already have $149 million on the books. Right? So they may be looking to break down. They're not going anywhere fast. Right? They're not going anywhere. So I think there's a reason. The Knicks are in need of a shooting center. They need someone that can shoot the ball. That's why there's a question about KP coming back to the Knicks, because he would fit and he would help spread the floor. He would help open up the lane for Randall, for RJ, for Brunson. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why these questions are being asked. And you have two guys that are not being played. Two guys. Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose. You put their salaries together, and it equals KP's salary. That's the reason why the question is being asked. Because if the Wizards were looking to break down their team and save some money, there's definitely a world where the Knicks could make a move for Kristaps Porzingis. The Wizards help to save some money. The Knicks get a player, that can spread the floor, a center that they need that can spread the floor. That's the reason why the question is being asked. And I do think it's a good topic of conversation. I'm not saying that I'm crazy about KP, but basketball-wise, I get it. I get it.
And Sim, we saw in the past that the Knicks had the situation that they brought a player back. For example, Timmy Hardaway Jr. We traded him away. The next season, we signed him again, right? So yep. Listen, I think stranger things happened, and there was definitely situations like that in other teams.
Yeah,
I don't think you can be mad at KP for what happened when he got traded. I think you gotta bury the hatchet. I think he's more mature now. If he had the situation and the chance, I think he would never done it again. So I'm not afraid about that. Listen, like we said, whatever it takes to make the roster better, I think you got to do it. You can't look at anything, any kind of, things from the past.
Yeah.
If it makes the team better, you got to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Andre Walker said there's familiarity. I struggle with that word all the time. I don't know why, but Brunson and KP are familiar.
They played together. Exactly.
So, and according to Andre Walker, they played well together, had some chemistry. So that could be something that helps to bring KP to the Knicks. Another free agent from the Washington Wizards is Kyle Kuzma. He's also on a player option for next season. $13 million is what his option is. I doubt that he's going to pick up that option. He can definitely make more money on the market.
Definitely.
Without a doubt there. Would you have interest in Kyle Kuzma? Would the Knicks even have money for Kyle Kuzma?
Well, we could have the money if we don't sign Josh Hart. And
or what if? Well, but what if they're able to dump the contract?
Yeah,
Evan Fournier's
too.
Contract.
But we would have to get expiring contracts in that deal. And I think we would be the team that gets the longer contract just to dump contracts like D Rose and like Fournier, because D Rose is $15 million. You can just let it expire and then have the money, right? But if you don't move Fournier's contract, it's still going to be on the books. And if someone, I don't think Fournier's value is that much that someone is going to trade for Fournier as a player instead of just trade for Fournier as a contract. Right. So if, for example, I would see more teams sending us a 2-year contract with the value of Fournier just to make the deal, right? For example, they have a guy on the bench that they're not playing, but he's due the next 2 seasons with guaranteed money. So they would trade for Fournier just to get off the books, just to get his contract off the books a year sooner. And, I don't think that's going to be the
unless the Knicks attached draft picks.
That too.
Right? If they attach draft picks, then that team could just absorb Evan Fournier's contract. Like Charlotte, who we just went over, the Pacers, who we went over the other day, they could absorb the contract, and then, the Knicks would just free up that money for next season.
Yeah, I would add one more team that we didn't have on these shoot arounds is the San Antonio Spurs. They got the number 1 pick. They're probably gonna pick Victor Wembanyama, French player. He would have a vet We know that Pop likes European players. He likes vets. He had Bellinelli. He had Tony Parker. And those guys are probably going to be on the coaching staff, but still having a player capable of being on the court alongside Victor, I think that wouldn't be a bad move for the Spurs. And the Spurs have salary space to get that move. Basically, if I don't even know if we would have to attach a first round pick, maybe one of those protected picks. I think that would be enough, because I really think that Pop needs vets on the roster just to get through these young guys. And I don't think Victor is a player that you can risk developing in a bad way, even in the first season. Right. So I think that would be a situation where we could move Fournier probably the quickest.
Yeah, and listen, we're going to excuse me. We're going to cover the San Antonio Spurs. We'll choose 3 more teams to look at. We'll cover the Spurs as well. But if the Knicks were able to find someone to take Evan Fournier, like San Antonio or Charlotte or Indiana, and maybe San Antonio is the best fit for Evan Fournier, but if they were able to free up that cap space, now maybe you can sign Josh Hart and Kyle Kuzma. Or it doesn't have to be Kyle Kuzma, but somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have enough money, depending how, and the Knicks will have to be strategic in the way that they make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So that they could use the exception, the $12 million exception maybe, or, however it is. They'd have to be strategic in the timing of their signings, right? Or trades or whatever it is, so that they could, utilize and take advantage of any little loopholes that's in there to make sure that they can sign the people that they're looking for. Which means they've got to utilize this draft.
Yeah.
And so while the Knicks don't have a draft pick, and they could buy a draft pick, they could trade for a draft pick, in order for them to get some things done, I think they've got to utilize the draft. They've got to make moves either before the draft or during the draft. Because once you get to June 24th with Derrick Rose, now it's like, all right, we just got to waive him because we're not going to take on that $15 million. But if you can move him before the draft or during the draft, now that other team can waive and move Derrick Rose so that they can free up money, that team, whoever he's traded to. So I think if something's going to happen, it's got to happen now or before the draft or at the draft.
There are plenty of players around the league that, the options their contract options, the team options have to be picked up like literally a day or 2 after the draft.
Right.
That means, teams already were envisioning dealing them, for example, on that draft night and stuff like that. So,
Yep. Draft night is June 22nd.
And I'm going to be on vacation that day.
I'm going to be at Legends that day, but draft night is June 22nd. And I think Derrick Rose, the Knicks have got to make a decision about Derrick Rose by June 24th.
Yeah.
The Knicks or whatever team that he's on. So I think the Knicks are going to be making some moves during the draft. Something's going to happen somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to make some moves. But how would you feel about Kyle Kuzma?
I'm torn because I like his basketball skills. I'm questioning his behavior off the court. And I'm not saying that it's something bad, but
a little weird sometimes.
Exactly.
It's a little
nicely put it. So I think I would hope that him getting to New York wouldn't double the strength of that weirdness and stuff like that. So a little bit torn, but if he would stick to the basketball court, we know what he can do. I think he's probably close to his ceiling. I don't envision him developing in any certain way. but that would still, be better than what we have in a guy like Obi, and probably even Hardenstein, right? So, that definitely would boost our front court.
Yeah. He would. And, I think he can play small forward or power forward. So he's versatile. He would make the team more versatile. He can shoot the three. He can go off the dribble, can shoot a little in the mid range. I think that Kyle Kuzma, basketball wise, would be, a decent fit. Basketball wise, as far as who he is as a person, and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. I think the Knicks have a team of players who are, really serious about the game, I feel like. Mitchell Robinson, he's the one guy that maybe you question his seriousness about the game. He's a jokester. I think he's gotten more serious about it. But everyone else is very serious about the game of basketball. You know what I mean? And Kyle Kuzma would have to come in and fit into that culture. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Bradley Beal. Will the Wizards move Bradley Beal? Can they move Bradley Beal, to be honest with you? What do you think? Can they move Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal's I like Bradley Beal. I'm not sure if I'm interested in Bradley Beal on this contract.
And Sim, that's the problem that probably the rest of the league GMs look at, and they think, listen, if he would be like the missing piece for us, and our window for winning a chip is going to be like a season or two, we might risk it, right? But those numbers, his contract ends with a 57 million.
And that's a player option.
Exactly. And that's a player option. Listen, I think, he can be a really good player, but, I don't think anyone else is going to, overpay that. So he's going to pick it up, and that's due to 26, 27 year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned also some before the show, before we went on, I'm listening here from Poland to plenty of podcasts and Marcin Gortat interviews, which is a former Washington Wizard player, a teammate of Bradley Beal, and he was on the coaching staff as a coach for the big men for the Wizards this season. And he always in those interviews mentions, because he got questioned about Bradley Beal and his future, he said that Bradley Beal is one of those guys that he doesn't care about winning. He wants to be with his team, with the Wizards, and he probably is going to ride out that contract. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. And it's not like we're calling him less ambitious or anything like that. But I could envision that happening. He's going to ride out that contract. Even if they go to full rebuild mode, he's going to probably stay with the Wizards, at least from his part, right? If they decide to trade him, that's on the GM's part. And if they got, certain value back for him, right? But if that's the case and they're going to leave the decision to Bradley, I think he's going to be a Wizard for life, basically.
Yeah, and just being here in the DC area, all the talk about Bradley Beal is that he's, really a family-oriented guy. You know what I mean? And, he doesn't want to uproot his family. He doesn't want to uproot his children. And that's just who he is. Very, quiet type of dude, not really out in, clubs and doing things like that. That's not his character, which probably makes him a good fit for Leon Rose. He likes guys like that, it seems. But I don't see Bradley Beal leaving the Wizards. You know what I mean? At least, I see him honoring his contract, and I guess you'll see what would happen then at the end of the contract. But, man, when you get to the end of this contract, he's already, 28, 29 years old? Maybe he's 30. I don't know. But when you get to the end of this contract, I mean, you might as well stay where you're at. If he's in Washington by the end of this contract, you might as well just rock out. You know what I mean? You've already made, $200 to $300 million or whatever it is. Look, he makes 46.7 next season, 50.2 in 24-25, 53.6 in 25-26, and then a player option for 57.1.
And Sim, I'm just reading that he's 30 years old and he has a no
30.
trade clause. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a
No trade clause and a 15% trade kicker. So
that's a killer of a contract. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
I need to see who his agent is.
He has a no trade clause plus a 15% kicker.
He's the sixth best paid player in the NBA currently.
That's a killer of a contract, man. Yeah, I don't see anybody trading for that.
He's projected to be the fourth best player the next season.
As far as money wise, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see anybody trading for that. They've basically married Bradley Beal. You know what I mean? And his family. So yeah, Bradley Beal is going to be in Washington until he decides he doesn't want to be, I guess, or if he decides he doesn't want to be. You know, I mean, it's basically like Damian Lillard in Portland.
I think I don't think Lillard has a no trade clause, so that might be even worse for the Wizards.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a crazy. How do you build? How do you rebuild when you've already got that kind of a contract? I mean, it's almost like the Wizards now. Now, when you think about it, will they even try to rebuild? He has that type of a contract. The only way to do right by him is to continuously try to put a team around him. Right?
Yeah, but for me, Sim, if it would be like the Lakers and I always put the Lakers in this situation. They trade only for stars. They trade all their young assets, their picks and stuff like that. I usually, if it would be the Lakers in this situation, I would say no one trade for Bradley Beal. Let them rot for the next 5 years, stink it out, and then I don't care. I'm not that mad at the Wizards. I think they wanted to do good by Bradley. They were thinking that he might be one of the core pieces, but looking at how many players they put it on his side and it doesn't work. No, it was just that, right? So
I mean, I get it. I mean, the thing that the Lakers have going for them though is they're the Lakers, and so players are gonna want to go play for the Lakers. Nobody wants to go play for the Wizards
or the Bullets.
Or right. I mean, when they were the Bullets, maybe they did. Maybe they didn't mind it, but they're the Wizards now. Nobody wants to play for the Wizards. They have the dumbest name in the league, in my opinion. I mean, why are they the Wizards? There's nothing about Wizards in DC. It don't make no sense. Makes no sense. The colors is whack. Well, at least when they used to wear that teal color, I thought it was whack. I don't know. Nobody wants to go play for the Wizards. And so he's just like stuck in purgatory being with the Wizards. But maybe he doesn't care about winning a championship like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not his first priority. Very similar, though, to Damian Lillard in Portland. And, of course, now we're going to get to the Portland Trail Blazers. You know what I mean? And what the Portland Trail Blazers are going to do and how they're going to approach the season. Free agents, Jeremy Grant, he's an unrestricted free agent. Cam Reddish, ladies and gentlemen, has a qualifying offer. Justice Winslow, unrestricted free agent. Matisse Thybulle, qualifying offer. Kevin Knox, there's a team option. Salary cap. It's not bad. They have for next season right now, $111 million on the books. So you're talking about $23 million in salary cap space. They have 3 picks, the 3rd pick, the 23rd pick, and the 43rd pick. And Andy, I'm not even going to lie to you. If I were the Portland Trailblazers, I wouldn't trade that third pick. For the simple fact that they have the third pick, and then 20 picks later, they have the 23rd pick, and then 20 picks later, they have the 43rd pick. Just because those numbers match up like that, I wouldn't make the trade. I'd feel like we got something good coming. For real, with that third pick. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. The numbers match up. I don't know. I don't know if you believe in the stars and all of that, but sometimes it's 2023, third pick, 23rd pick, 43rd pick. Might be something to be said for that. You know what I mean? Might be something to be said for it. I don't know. What do the Portland Trailblazers do? Are they going to move Dame Lillard? Or are they really serious about building around Dame? They say that they are. Will they move the third pick? Are they going to move on from Anfernee Simons? Right? The rumor out there is that they are willing to move on from Anfernee Simons to build around Dame. I mean, you would think that Anfernee Simons is a piece to put around, to keep around Dame. But I don't know. What do you think?
Wilson, for me, it's like you said. I think they need a clear-cut route to build this team or rebuild, right? If they consider rebuilding the team, you need to tear down whatever you can, and trading Dame Lillard would be the first step that I would be making. Who would trade for him? The rumor is that the Phoenix Suns is interested in Dame Lillard, and if you could get a plethora of picks for him, I think that's the route that the Blazers have to go, right?
Right.
On the other hand, trading Anfernee Simons, I think it's a bad move. He showed that without Dame Lillard, he's capable of being the first option. I'm not saying that he's being a first option and leading the team to success. But if you see the potential in that kid, I don't think it's a good idea to move him. You can still move him in a couple of seasons because he's still probably going to have that value. The problem with the Blazers is Jeremy Grant is an unrestricted free agent. You got Yusuf Nurkic for, signed through the next 3 seasons for a probably good contract. It's barely 17 million, 18 and 19 million. So that's not a bad contract. Shaedon Sharpe is signed for the next 4 seasons. And then basically the roster ends because no other names stand out. You got Eric Bledsoe, but Eric Bledsoe is not the Eric Bledsoe that, we saw several years back, right? He's a vet, but I don't know what his condition is. So, so I don't think you got basically, if you move Dame, you got a carte blanche. You can build whatever way you want. You can re-sign these guys with the qualifying offers. So you have, guys. But if you get a plethora of picks for Dame, you got, a couple of rebuilding seasons ahead. But I still think that's the way to go instead of trading the number 3 pick and getting even if that number 3 pick gets you a player, it's not going to get you a superstar. It's not Kirill Selfs. Nobody's going to trade a Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, whoever for that 3rd pick. The highest you get, you're going to get a 3rd option on a championship team, which would probably a Julius Randle, which could be probably a RJ Barrett. But that's adding to that roster, which is depleted because you have only Dame and Anfernee Simons, and you're going to have Yusuf Nurkic from the starting lineup, and you add a guy in Julius Randle or a guy in RJ Barrett. That doesn't make you a contender in the West. So I think that move is literally just delaying the rebuild, right? And
the thing
I don't
is,
think that's good.
See, I think because of Damian Lillard's extension, right, that jumps in 25, 26 or whenever, I don't know. I mean, he's on the books until 2026, 2027. That season, he'll make $63.2 million. Okay. 2023-24, he makes 45.6. 24-25, he makes 48.7. 25-26, he makes 58.5. And then he has a player option in 26-27 for 63.2. I mean, you're talking about more than a third of your salary cap. If the salary cap comes out at $134 million, well, in 26-27 is going to be more than that. So at $45 million is about a third of your salary cap.
Sim, let me just add here. I wonder if the new CBA has a amnesty clause for one of these contracts, because I wouldn't be surprised if they had that.
Right.
If both the Wizards and the Blazers would use those on these players.
Right.
Because that would allow them to rebuild, way sooner than this. Because that contract is, my God.
Tell me about it. It's, I mean, that's a crazy contract.
Yeah,
man.
Sim, just put it in a perspective. He's literally gonna earn the amount of money of our top 3 players.
Right.
Almost.
Right.
So
almost.
So.
Almost. That's crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, already, listen, in this season, he earned the amount of money of almost 2 of our top players.
Yeah.
$42.4 million. And this team didn't make the playoffs.
And not to mention that he's also injury prone, Sim.
Yeah.
If he would be one of those players that plays 80 games, 78 games, whatever, cool. But he's not going to score 60 points per game for you to fill out the production of 2 or 3 guys. So those, like I told you a couple of shows back, the maximum contract in these CBAs should be around 40, 45 million. I don't think there is a player or a person walking on this earth today that's worth more money for a basketball team.
I guess what you have to take into consideration, and what probably these teams or the organizations take into consideration, is not just are they winning championships, but how much money does he generate?
Make off court, right?
How much money does
does
he generate for the organization? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
but listen,
he's a draw, right? People
Yeah.
come to see Damian Lillard. So, if he is putting butts in the seats, then they're probably making, I don't know, however many $1 million per game, plus jerseys, and all of that stuff. So they probably look at it that way.
Yeah, that's true, Sim. But then you gotta ask, yourself the question: is your goal to win a chip, or is your goal to produce more money because you treat this NBA team as a business?
Yeah.
Because if you do that,
right,
go ahead, make a name, and like you're saying, you can sell beer in his cups with his name on it, right? So,
right. Nah, I dig it. Hey, let me get to a phone call really quick, Andy. And talk some more about Anfernee Simons, and would you make a move for Anfernee Simons? Caller, you're live. Name me where you're from, please. We're there. Caller, you there?
Must be Isaiah.
We'll try to get him back on. Let's talk about Anfernee Simons. He makes $24.1 million this season, $25.8 million next season, and $27.6 million in 25-26. Is he somebody that you'd be interested in?
That's a good question. I like his game, but we gotta consider that his numbers were produced mostly because he was the number 1 option. If he comes to the Knicks, he's probably going to be number 3. I don't see him being higher on the totem pole in the offense. Defensively, not the best defender. So question is, if he goes to any other team, if he's going to have still that production on par with his contract. 27 million per year in the last season, I think he might get a little bit too much money, right? So that might be not the perfect contract, but if he's going to get traded to a team that's not making the playoffs, like you said, he's going to be even the second option, maybe the third option, but on a team that's not playing for that chip and being a contender, I still think he might, be worth it. Would I want him on the Knicks? Not so much, unless it's for literally, a Fournier or someone that we don't use on the court. So that trade I would have to do always.
Okay. Let me see. Anfernee Simons for the Portland Trailblazers last season averaged 21.1 points per game. He shot 44.7% from the field and 37.7% from the three-point line. He's 6'3", 181 pounds, another small guard.
And Sim, you got his usage numbers? Because I would think that the usage numbers was like
The usage rate.
at least.
No,
Yeah.
I don't have his usage rate numbers in front
But
of me.
it's definitely above 30%. So
Wow. That's a lot.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Caller, you live. Name me where you're from, please.
Sam,
What's popping with you, man?
oh,
How you feeling?
hey, what's going on? Long time, my brother. What's going on? Salute, Nick Nation.
Yes, sir, man. I feel good, man. How about you? How you feeling about? I mean, we probably talked, when the season was over. So I think we talked before this. Once the season ended. How you feeling about the Knicks making moves in the free agency?
They got some moves, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things that you guys are talking about pertaining to Portland and Dame and Washington and Bradley.
And Bill, yeah.
I Bill, and I don't know which one of you said it, that you wasn't questioning his ambitiousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm questioning both. I've questioned both of their ambitions. Portland should have traded Dame 2 years ago.
I said it too.
Yeah, I agree.
Portland sitting with Dame these last couple of years, giving him that ridiculous contract. Don't get me wrong. The superstar and the boat rises everybody else. So the money's not a thing for me. Their organization was going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Washington, the same thing with Bradley Beal. They literally, he didn't even have to ask for the money. They were already prepared to give him the money because they're not doing anything. He's not going anywhere. He's not demanding anything of them. We're good.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
but
the thing is,
but they're superstars. You still have to pay your superstars.
You got to pay them.
That's just the nature of the game.
Yeah. Now, Dame did say in an interview he did the other day that, he wants to finish his career in Portland, but if they can't put a championship contender around him, then, they would need to have a conversation.
I would never listen to a thing Dame Dollars has to say.
I agree with you, though. I don't think he wants to leave Portland.
I would never listen to a thing. Me giving him a microphone, I'd rather hear him rap.
He could rap, though.
Me
He's nice.
giving him a microphone, I'd rather hear him rap. Me giving him a microphone to talk about anything basketball with his future related, I would care less. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He's stuck in confusion.
Yeah.
What has Portland done? And if you want to keep it a buck, when they let Aldridge go
mm-hmm.
in the youth of his career, I thought it was a mistake way back when. They've never been able to replace him.
No, never.
10 years ago.
Right. you get players like that every once in a while. Dame and Bradley Beal, both of those guys are, I don't know if you call it, I don't know what it is, if they're just loyal or maybe they just like, I'm not trying to be moving around the league like that. I just want to rock out where I'm at. I don't know. I don't know, but clearly they're not the type of players that are going to. Neither one of them seem to be confrontational. Kobe was confrontational. Oh, I'm leaving. Right? And what did they do? They went and put the team around them to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? Neither one of those guys are like that.
They went out and traded for Gasol.
Yep.
They went out and traded for Gasol immediately.
Yep. Neither one of those guys are like that.
Immediately.
Right. They're not confrontational. They're not like that. I don't know what you do. You know what I'm saying? Now the rumors out there that he said that he wouldn't mind going to Miami or Brooklyn. Now I listened to that part of the interview, and I only caught a small section of the interview, and I don't think it was the type of thing where they said, what teams would you want to go to when he said Brooklyn or Miami? I think it was more like, hey, there's rumors out there that Brooklyn might be interested, that Miami might be interested, that this team and this team and this team might be interested. And then they said, out of those teams, who would you like to go to? That's what it sounded like. And then he said, well, out of those teams, Brooklyn makes sense. Well, Miami makes sense because I'm friends with Bam Adebayo. Brooklyn makes sense because I'm friends with Mikal Bridges. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't look like he was really like, yeah, this is, these are the teams that I would request a trade to. It wasn't that.
So go play with your buddies. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like does that mean you're gonna win a championship because you go to Brooklyn? Am I gonna give him that it was just his play on words or, those are his friends, or he's a grown ass man. You know what he was doing.
I think it.
You know what he was saying. Those are teams you want to go play with. Fine, go ahead.
Listen,
that's not where you need to go. That's not where you need to go anyway. For the Knicks, you need to go get players who want to be here first and foremost.
Right. I have no interest in trading for Dame. I just don't feel
Freezy has, though.
Yeah, I like Damian Lillard, and I always thought he would be great in New York. I'm just afraid we're not going to be able to build around him with that contract. That's where I get nervous with. You know what I mean?
You would have to move out a couple of things. You would have to move out, New York's favorite, one Julius.
Listen to it.
New York's other favorite, one RJ,
Yeah, you have to move both of those guys.
They would be leaving.
Right. But listen, you'd have to move both of those guys and feel that he's going to bring in, obviously you would add more. So I guess you'd be adding Dame Lillard and then Grant, right? So we become the Portland Trailblazers all over again. I don't know. I think it's better moves.
I wouldn't.
I don't have a problem with moving anyone on this team except for Brunson, right? But you got to make the right move, and I just don't think it would be the right move.
I mean, in theory, right? I don't want to touch him either. But in theory, if you're telling me that they would begin something with Randall and RJ as the baseline, and then we're gonna work from there. Let's do it.
for Dame,
I wouldn't blink.
For Dame,
I would not blink once. Absolutely, let's do it.
For Dame,
if that's the baseline, and we're working from there, let's do it.
For 33-year-old Dame Lillard, that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I don't know. I
Absolutely.
think that takes us nowhere. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it takes us anywhere.
You start from Sim. You start from there because your backcourt is now going to give people nightmares on a daily. Your backcourt is going to give any team nightmares on a daily.
So did Dame and CJ McCollum.
You can go off. No, CJ's not. He's not Brunson. CJ's not as good as Brunson. He never was as good as Brunson. And I could play Brunson off, on. I could play Dame off, on. If you're telling me I need to go out and go get me a 4 afterwards, and go find me a 3-and-D wing, I do that every day of the week, and I've seen, and I'm not. Don't get me wrong, because people have heard me kill Randall, on these airwaves. I'm not giving Randall away or saying, but if you're telling me I'm gonna get that offensive force in the playoffs against Miami, against Boston, alongside with Brunson, I take my chances with that.
Man, I don't know, man. Dame is 30. I mean, I feel like you're giving up. Obviously, you're giving up a big part of your team. You still have Mitch, right? You would still have Mitch. You got to get a 4. You got to get a 3. I don't know. And then you're talking. You got
suit up, Sim.
You got a 3-year window.
Baby.
You got a 3-year window. 3-year window to get it done.
That's good.
Got a 3-year window to get it done.
Suit up, Sim.
I suit up.
Suit up. Come out of retirement. Suit up.
I suit up. I'll back up Brunson all day. You have three non-defensive guards out there.
I would absolutely. I'm doing that because look at some of the moves that they're going to have to be forced to make here in this next month. Are you going to give Quickly $90 to $100 million to come off the bench?
But you don't got to do that this month. You don't got to do that for Quickly. Quickly's still under contract for next year. You don't have to make that move until next summer.
Okay.
Him and Obi.
Okay.
You don't have to do that until next summer. You can choose to give him an extension. Probably you might have until October to choose to give him an extension. And then at the end of the season, you'll have the same way they did with RJ. Right? Same thing that happened with RJ. Right? They didn't give him an extension in October, but then at the end of the season, when everything was going on with Donovan Mitchell and all of that, boom, then they hit him with the extension. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay.
I mean, I love Dame. I really do. I love Dame. You giving up a 22-year-old, 28-year-old for a 33-year-old guy that's been injury-prone the last couple of years. I don't know.
I work it out.
I don't know.
I absolutely work it out. I wouldn't blink an eye. If he was the kind of person that was embracing us from afar,
right?
Because remember, the Knicks they've been toying with this Dame thing now for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah,
now
it's been a while. It's been a while,
right? It's been a long while. He's never given you love from a distance.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't never. Not once.
He never liked the tweet or nothing, right?
Nothing.
Stephen A. Smith been harping on it. Go get Dame. Go get Dame. Not one time has Dame said anything.
Never. He has no interest in your organization, so why would you have interest in him?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Players like that, him, Bradley Beals of the world, these are super talented guys, but he's comfortable right where he is. You're telling me that Washington, which is what, 3 hours by car, is that big of a difference to come to New York City? Is that big
That's
of a
true.
difference?
That's true.
You could do that you could drive home every night.
Every night. You could drive home every night if you want to.
You could drive home every night.
Right.
What are you telling me?
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Easy,
You know what I'm saying?
quick drive.
If he was going to Philly, that's 3 hours the opposite way.
Right.
What are you telling me?
Easy, quick drive. Hour by plane.
That's not what he's about. He's about his comfort where he is. He got his big deal. He's a family man, gets to pick up his children, kiss his wife every night. He's good.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt about that.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, gentlemen, thanks
Appreciate
for letting me rock for a minute.
No doubt.
It's been a minute, brothers.
Yeah, I
We'll see
appreciate
you
you,
again.
bro.
Knicks family for life.
No doubt. Peace. Andy, all right, would you do that? Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett for Damian Lillard.
Nope. No way.
The money would match. I don't know if you guys heard that phone ringing. Did you hear the phone ringing, Andy?
Yeah, like in the background. So.
Yeah, you. I don't know if they did, but you might have. I don't know if they did.
Sim, only deal I might consider doing for Dame, and it probably would be the same for Bradley Beal, is I'm giving away D Rose, Fournier as salaries, and then, of course, it will require one of RJ or Julius, right? So Julius, I'm not doing. RJ, I might consider doing. And that's only because I think you can't depend only on your backcourt to win you the whole season or the chip. You got to have, for example, Sim, I think if you would envision this, if we wouldn't have Julius versus the Cavs, I don't think we pull out that series.
I agree.
Only because we had a scoring punch of the guards, and we had an offensive threat of the forwards. If you go only by the guards, you're playing guards tandem versus the Cavs tandem in Garland and Mitchell. I think that's a good guard tandem, and those guys having like Mobley and Allen, that defensively they weren't that bad, but I think Julius had an incredible series versus the Cavs, and that brought us to the second round. If you don't have that, might be a little bit tougher. So I rather have a great guard and a great forward than two great guards, or even though two great forwards. So that's why I would have to be RJ, and if it's RJ, then I'm giving up only dead weight in the books, which is 40 and D Rose. If it requires a pick, I could consider a pick, but it's not like 4 picks and quickly and OB and RJ and Fournier and everybody else, right? I'm not gutting my roster for a guy like Dame or Bradley Beal, which have those horrendous contracts. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, listen, Damian Lillard is a beast. He's a monster. There's no doubt about that. He's a monster. I don't know if I'm doing both of those guys for Dame. Keith Tender said, this is probably the worst take I've seen you had in a long time. That I wouldn't trade Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett for Damian Lillard. That's cool. I mean, Dame is 33 years old. He's been, he's been on the injured list the last couple of years. I wouldn't do it. I'm not saying that I wouldn't trade those guys. I'm saying I wouldn't do it for that guy. You know what I'm saying? And then you're stuck in the contract until 2026, 2027, where you got to pay him $63 million. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that because I don't think we can build around him. And I definitely don't want to have to pay him $63 million in 26, 27 when he's going to be 38, 39 years old and can't get up off the mat. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I wouldn't do it. Like to make smart, calculative moves, I just don't think that's a good one. To me, that's kind of just, hey, we're throwing all of this away, putting our chips into Dame. We're throwing all away what we built away and putting our chips there. That's, to me, I ain't feeling that one. Sorry, Ant. I ain't feeling that one. Call you live, man. Tell me your name and where you from, please.
How you doing? Jamal from Jersey.
What's going on, Jamal? How you feeling, man?
What up?
Oh, man, this is my first Knicks content I consumed since the season was over. I've been so upset. So I appreciate this therapy session. I'm going to leave it all here and get back to normal life again.
All right. There you go. No doubt.
First things first, judging off which I was just talking about, I'm not trading Randall and RJ for Dame. I'm not even trading Randall alone for Dame. And to even double down on that, in my book, I think Randall is untouchable in my book. I think we ducking and dodging what the problem is. The problem is you have to alter and put these guys in a position to succeed instead of forcing them into the only one way you know how to coach and move things out on the floor. Like, the guys get no help and don't get put in position to succeed. And when you weigh Randall's production versus his contract, and with the CVA going up and what it's going to be, it's going to allow you to build a better team if you do it the right way and bring in more and better pieces to complement him and the team overall. But we get stuck beating our head on this one way with Tibbs specifically, and it clearly catches up to us every time. We got coached. We got out-coached by far against the Miami Heat, and it's no way around that.
No, I agree with you.
One
100%.
other thing I want to say that really bothers me is when we had our backs against the wall and he played Grimes and Brunson the whole way, and then you basically in the same situation again, and we had the lead, and he sacked those guys, and it crumbled. I'm just wondering, how did this happen when this is a coach that coached every single game in the regular season like it's a game 7? Then it really is a game 7, and he decided guys need rest. Well, we've been calling for guys to rest all year. I just need somebody to explain that to me. Because they went the whole way, and we won. Then you were in the same situation again, and we was like up 10, 12, something like that. And he sat Brunson and Grimes in them, and that was it. And he coaches preseason, game 1, game 37, game 79. Every game like it's the last game, this coach wants to win. Am I right or wrong on that?
You're right. You're right. There's no doubt about it, man. Say that again?
That part. And then he sat him in the game when the season was really on the line. I just can't get past that part of it. And I guess I just listen to you guys rebuttal and listen to the chat cheer me up because we all got different views. But I really feel you can't trade Randall. Good organizations work with guys. You send Randall to Miami, you're going to see a different player. You send them to Pop and all of these strong structure organizations, players only listen to 2 things on a pro level. It's money or playing time. All of this talking to them, flying to them in the off season when nothing matters and showing them a video, it's not going to do nothing. You sit the guy or you find the guy or both, and the guy will fall in line. This is pro. This is not high school. This is not AAU or come on, Johnny, don't do this. No, that don't work. These guys got millions of dollars. And that's a major concern of theirs, and playing is a major concern of theirs. So if you're not going to stand up to them in one of those 2 ways, then just forget about it.
I feel you, bro. Hey, thank you for the call, man. Hey, call back, man. I think a lot of people, you look in the chat, a lot of people agree with you, man.
And like I said, I appreciate it. I hang up and listen to you guys and continue to listen to the show.
No doubt. Appreciate it. Have a good one. What do you think, Andy? Do you think Julius is, I'm not going out looking to trade Julius, but I don't think he's untradeable. For the most part, I don't think anyone is ever untradeable. You know what I mean? But I don't think he's untradeable.
I agree, Sam. And like the caller said, his production for his contract, it's a great value
Yeah.
for the franchise. So the fans can hate him as the part of the fan base can hate him because they only piggyback on one thing and try to write it out and trade a guy for anything, literally for anything, for a second round pick and just to make the money off. I think it's stupid to do that way. So of course, like you said, if for example someone calls to us and gives us a reasonable deal that makes the franchise better in the short future or in the near upcoming couple of seasons, you got to consider that deal. But if it's just to get Julius off the roster, that's not even a question. I'm not really listening to those kind of scenarios and trades. So.
Right. Because you see, if you go on Twitter, you see all kinds of wild stuff on Twitter. People just making all kinds of dumb trades, and it's like, are y'all serious? Come on. I mean, be serious. Let me get to another caller here. Caller, you're live. Do me a favor. Can you turn that down in the back, please?
Yeah, this is Joe Neckbone from Brooklyn.
What's going on, Joe? How you feeling, man?
I just wanted to comment on what he was saying about that trade issue thing. I wouldn't do it because it may wind up like they did when they made that trade for Melo. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't make that trade.
It would be worse than that.
Yeah, it would be way worse than that.
Yeah, it may be worse than that.
Yeah.
We don't want to get stuck with that situation.
Yeah.
That's a bad situation. Then you got to pay all that money back.
Yeah, it would be a really bad situation if they did that, in my opinion. You giving up half your starters or 2/3 of your starting lineup, 2/3 of your. I mean, you're talking about two players who, when you look at the Knicks turning it around, have been almost a catalyst of this team turning it around and going from a terrible team, 17 wins when they drafted RJ, to now a team that made the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. I love Dame and all of that, but I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it neither. If anything, if I was going to make a trade, I would get Porzingis. If anything.
Okay. So who would you move for Porzingis? Because Porzingis is going to make $36 million.
Julius Randle.
Okay.
I moved Julius Randle for Porzingis.
Okay. And you'll have KP starting next to Mitch. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable in KP staying healthy? Because he's always.
Well, that'll be the chance I would have to take, but I think it's a good move though, because it wouldn't hardly cost the Knicks nothing.
Well, I mean, it would cost them. You would have to move Randall and at least one other person to make the money match.
Well, that's what I would do then.
Okay. All right.
I would do that, and I'll leave it like that.
Okay. All right. Well, Joe, I appreciate your time, man.
All right. I appreciate y'all talking.
One, no doubt. Appreciate
you too, brother.
All right. Peace. Yeah, I don't know if that's a move that I'm doing, because I'm just not sure that KP is going to stay healthy. You know what I mean? And I don't think he'd stay healthy. I think he'd break down, especially with Tom Thibodeau as his coach. I think he's breaking down. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say.
He's definitely breaking down. Yeah, I don't know, man. If I'm the Knicks, I don't know. I might look into Anfernee Simons, but I think what we really need, though, on this team, because for the most part, Julius Randle is going to be here. RJ's going to be here. Brunson's going to be here. I'm not going to say those guys are untouchable, but they're going to be here. They need someone at that 3 spot. I don't know if with Portland, I don't know if you're getting anyone there. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the Knicks ain't interested in Kevin Knox or Cam Reddish, right? I don't know if you're bringing in Jeremy Grant to try to play the 3. The Knicks also need a stretch 5, Bricks Nation. Yup, also need a stretch 5. So, I mean, those are the things that I'm looking at. And they also need another guard, I think, a strong ball handler. That's the reason why we did the show on Chris Paul the other day. If I'm Leon Rose, I'm giving a call. Because I would love to have Chris Paul be the backup point guard that could put Emmanuel quickly off the ball, find a way to get a shooting center, and then get a strong 3-man. You know what I mean? And I think you're cooking with something.
And Sim, just to add to this, Blazers scenarios and stuff like that, I don't know if this is important as far as you see it, but I think it might, pay up in some kind of dividends that the Knicks did a trade with the Blazers this season.
Right.
So they have a good relationship in that, matter. And I think neither side is going to be afraid, to call and just even feel out the rumors, the scenarios and stuff like that. So because some teams, for example, I really hardly envision the Knicks working a trade with the Celtics, that kind of teams that you don't feel a good contact with. And I think, for example, the Celtics is one of the teams that it would kind of, to make that deal happen, I think you would have to throw in something really extra to make that deal work.
Mm-hmm.
For example, because it's an in-division team, and I think it's one of those teams that you have like that kind of rivalry feeling, at least, right? So the Blazers, the totally opposite, side of the country, I think, no bad blood there. Even if they see that they lost this trade, I think they would still pick up the phone and easily try to consider a trade with the Knicks.
Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of stuff for the Knicks to think about, ladies and gentlemen. There's definitely other teams out there that the Knicks might deal with. San Antonio, could be one of them. I don't know who else is out there, but there's some other teams. We're gonna come back Monday with maybe 3 more teams, but also talk about some potential draft picks if the Knicks were to pick up a late first round or second round draft pick. Also, some guys that maybe the Knicks might sign from undrafted guys that the Knicks might sign, some G League guys that the Knicks might look into. I think next week the Knicks are having a mini camp through June 12th through the 14th. Kai Soto is going to be at the mini camp, right? I think he was at a Knicks camp last year. He's coming back this year, trying to get on the summer league team. So we'll see. It's gonna be a busy summer for the Knicks. Very interesting, but a busy summer. I do want to remind everybody, that we got this cookout going on, July 1st, upstate New York. So if you're going to be in the area or if you don't mind driving, come check us out. All right, it's from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're going to have a dope time. We're going to play some ball. We're going to do some, eating, of course, making some videos, doing some podcasting. It's going to be a dope time, man. So, get your tickets, $35 if you want to get it with a shirt, $20 if you just want to come join us and, have some food and have a good time. All right. Andy, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I think it was a great show, Sim. As we see fans that are calling in, really knowledgeable people, and don't have wild ideas, just to trade someone to get them off the roster. So I'm happy about that we don't have to deal with some callers that I hear on other shows.
Right.
So I'm really happy about that. As usually, it was a pleasure to be with you on the stream. And Sim, just a totally off-topic thing. Isaiah, I hope that shelf is going to hold that you built.
Yeah, my man Isaiah built this. Hey, on Monday, when we come back on Monday, we're going to have a picture of the shelf. You guys can let us know, is this shelf going to hold or is it not? All right, we're going to let you know. We're going to put it up there.
Exactly.
And take a poll. We'll get Big Bubba on the show too.
Yeah.
So he can tell us his thought process in this shelf. He didn't paint it orange or blue though.
And he promised that he's gonna, sit on it, so it ain't gonna break. I didn't see that photo.
Right, exactly. No doubt. But anyway, man, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you join us on July 1st. The link is in the chat. We'd love to see you there. There's going to be more information. You know, right now, that's just the link. But later on tonight, there'll be a flyer and all of that stuff for you, too. But, yeah, we'll get up out of here. We'll see you on Monday with a full show on Monday, man, with possible undrafted players and people the Knicks can sign, people coming in for workouts, all of that kind of stuff. Paris Duggar, thank you for the super chat, and I want to thank you for the super chat the other day. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I want to make sure I read this one now. You said trade RJ, Mitch, and Fournier for our 3 for a first, and our 3 firsts for KP. Okay, so you said trade RJ, Mitch, and Fournier, and our 3 first-round draft picks for KP. Yeah, not doing that one. I'm not doing that one.
A little bit too much.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. Anyway, we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.